first time going live, so forgive me if the audio's off or I hope you guys can hear me. But like I said, forgive me if the audio's off. Forgive me if there's just, little bumps in the road on the way. I got my mic hooked up. Um, like I can't really like hear it back. So I'm hoping that the volume is good. Um, like I said, this is my first time going live on YouTube. I've been live on Instagram. I've been live on Facebook, um, Twitter, X, but never been live on YouTube. So this is my first time. So I hope that everything's working out. Um, Welcome to everybody that is checking out this live. Hope you like my Chicago hat. No. But I guess just to get things rolling, today on the live, I just kind of wanted to recap yesterday, or yeah, today's Wednesday. Yeah. Man, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and we've had a snow and ice storm, so everything's just been kind of out of whack. I haven't been at work past 2 days, is my second day. So, it's just, and here in this city, when we get snow, it shuts down. We don't have like the plows. I mean, we have snow plows that go through the streets, but they're not on it. Like, in other states that get a lot of snow where they're already ready, they're prepared, and it's getting handled and dealt with. Not so much here. It's a little last minute or late. So, yeah, so hey, 2 days off of work. So I figured since I was off, I should go live today for the first time. So here we are. You know who I am. It's your boy Scripps, creator, editor, writer for Classic Kills Top 10. I've been doing this show for a little over a year now. I think last week's episode, or this week, I guess, Tuesday's episode was, I think, my 32nd episode. And we drop these every week, you know. So, staying consistent. I haven't missed a week yet. I have switched days. When I first started the show, it was on Sundays, and I was dropping every Sunday. I think the very first one I dropped it at like 3 o'clock, and just that just wasn't a good time for like the algorithm or anything like that. So then I think I bumped it up to 6. Then I moved it till to 9 o'clock, and then after the holidays and everything, I kind of ended up, due to just everything going on, I ended up getting switched to Tuesday, and I've been dropping them on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Um, Let me know like if you guys think Sunday is better than Tuesday. Um, I feel like I'm getting about the same interaction and views or whatnot switching it to Tuesday. So I don't see a huge difference going from Sunday to Tuesday. But yeah, so this Tuesday we dropped the episode called Craziest Movie Moments That Left Me Speechless. And coming up with titles, I tell you this, just titles is really difficult for me. I do have like some assistants that will help me every now and then, AI, not a person per se, but that will help me with titles. Sometimes I'll use them outright. Sometimes I'll edit them up a little bit, but yeah. So that was Tuesday's episode, and the two films that I featured for that episode was The Blob and The Stuff. Now, these are both 80s, mid late 80s horror films, sci-fi horror, whatever you want to call it. Um, it was definitely a time where horror films were very fun, I should say. Fun, funny, satire in a way, comical. There was just a lot of stuff that would go on in those movies where you just, it's those, I can't believe it, and they got pretty gross, they got pretty gruesome, and not always necessarily gory and like the blood everywhere, but just like, you know, and the way things would happen, for instance, in the stuff, the black guy, what was his name? Chip, I think Chip. Oh man, I feel so bad. I forget his name because he made chocolate chip cookies. I'm pretty sure his name was Chip, but when the stuff was in him, and towards the end when he's in the radio studio because they're trying to put out a message to everyone to let them know not to eat the stuff, and his mouth opens really wide and the stuff's coming all out of his mouth. It's the thumbnail for that episode. Uh, it's that's like in its own way, it's like sick, gruesome, but different. Um, so about the stuff and about the blob, first off, I'm just kind of curious what you guys thought about those two films. If you've never seen those films, then let me know what you thought about the different like kills and deaths that were happening on in those films. Um, I think the stuff was definitely a lot more fun and comical than the blob. The blob definitely took a little more serious tone, I would say. Um, it was I mean they were both wild movies, but when I was reading the comments, a lot of people really appreciated the blob. They I think it was like a 4-1 vote basically, where most people were rooting for the blob and saying that that was like their fan favorite, over the stuff. And I can understand that. I can fully understand why somebody would say the blob. I mean, I guess like overall, the blob probably is a better film than the stuff, but I just thought like originality and like concept wise, I enjoyed the stuff better than the blob. Um, the blob was just like this mass that would take over people and eat their flesh basically. It was eating people, essentially. The stuff was a lot different because the stuff was more about control. The blob didn't care about control, it just wanted to kill people. The stuff was literally about mind control and about taking over. It wanted to spread throughout the world, basically. It started in a small town of Georgia, and it was trying to go nationwide. The people that were eating the stuff, like the businessmen and whatnot, obviously they were making money off of selling the product because it was so addictive, and people just fell in love with it and couldn't go without it. Like one of the main families in the film, they were like throwing their food away because they were like, at this point I don't need anything else to eat but the stuff. That was like their full diet: breakfast, lunch, dinner, the stuff, and dessert, which it pretty much looked like a dessert. um so I just thought that like that was way more like sinister. It was controlling people and forcing other people to make other people eat the stuff, so then it would control them as well, or it would just kill them. So I thought that was really cool about the stuff, um, versus the blob. Like I said, the blob was just a little more basic, but scarier, I would say, just a little less corny. Um, I really enjoyed like the advertisement that they did in the movie, the stuff as well. Never enough of the stuff, they had it's like that whole 80s vibe, doing their commercials, and I thought it was really fun. Like I said, that movie came out, I think, 88. 86, 88, something like that, late 80s, like I said. So I was just a child. I was just a kid when that movie came out. But I do remember it was one that my mom did enjoy watching with us. And I think partly so because, like I said, it wasn't so much like scary. It was just like creepy, I guess, a little bit, It's not the same. But we did watch The Blob as kids as well. But but yeah, both of those films, I chose both of those to do a versus against each other because I felt those were, like I said, two films. One, they both came out around the same time, and both were like a nasty, creamy, gooey substance. I mean, the stuff being more creamy, it was kind of like a yogurt. I read that the actors when they were filming it, what they were eating was like a yogurt whipped cream base, basically. So that's what the stuff was. Um, so it was just like I said, it was a lot more of a fun movie compared to the Blob. But I really loved the kills that were in the Blob. I think one of my favorites, besides the phone booth, which was classic. The lady's in the phone booth. She's trying to call the sheriff, and then the blob starts coming, and within the blob, you you see the sheriff's face press up against the phone booth. And she sees like I was just trying to call you, and he's dead, and she's trapped. And the blob just like covers up the phone booth and then consumes her, basically breaks in. That was one of my favorite kills, but I think that my favorite in the Blob was definitely the guy in the diner when he's trying to plunge the sink. There's something in the sink, and he's trying to get it out. And like said in the episode, like we've all been there, where the sink's clogged or the toilet's clogged, and you're just doing your job with the plunger, and he tries to unclog it and it's still kind of clogged, so he puts his hand in there, reaches down the sink, fills the little gooey stuff of the blob, and then it just reaches up and grabs his face, pulls him in, which is so funny because it's like the sink's opening is definitely at least half the size of his head, and his whole head goes through down into the sink, and his legs are still kicking and stuff. And it's like, come on, man. Like, one, if your head even was able to get into the sink, it would have to completely be crushed. Your brain's crushed, everything's crushed. Like, you're already dead once your head went in the sink. Like, there's no trying to still pull yourself out. Like, you're already dead. But that was just funny, his legs kicking and stuff, and he finally gets pulled all the way in. Um, so that was definitely my favorite kill in the Blob. For the stuff, I would probably say one of the favorite moments to me. Sorry, that was a sneeze, but it turned into a yawn, so I might sneeze in a minute. That was weird. But one of my favorite moments in the stuff was probably, well, obviously Chip, the black guy. When it comes out of him, that was a really good scene. But comic like comedy wise, I thought one of my favorite scenes was when the thing like when when the guy comes out of the truck and he's trying to stop the lady, the woman. She was, I think, she used to be like uh the head of like doing the commercials and stuff. Like she was the one that produced the commercials and directed them, I should say. Um, and so she's working with the undercover guy who's trying to figure out what the ingredients of the stuff are, for like opposing companies. And so she's getting out of her car, and the guy, he grabs her and he's trying to stop her. And she scratches at his face, like his eyes bleeding. He falls to the ground. Uh, and then the undercover guy, he's driving in this big old truck, coming to like save her or whatnot, or he was just passing by. I don't remember, but he's coming through, and and the guy that got scratched that was trying to stop her, he falls to the ground once he gets scratched, and she's like hitting him or whatnot, and the truck's coming, and there's like so much space. Like I promise you, there's like 5 feet space between like the truck and this guy, and he just like rolls into the path of the truck, and he just gets ran over. The whole like half of his body gets like ran over. His head explodes. So it was just like it was just so silly to me that like that he basically killed himself. Like literally you weren't even in the line of fire, but you kind of just put yourself there. But so those are my favorite like moments in the stuff and my favorite moments in the Blob. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed those two films that I picked. I try to always match movies that will complement each other, that has something about them that is similar but also different enough where it doesn't feel like I'm matching the same movies together. You know, just a little, I guess, little secret, not really a secret, but next week, I've already filmed next week's episode, and next week I'll be doing Killer Clowns versus Mars Attacks, you know. And again, like I said, these are two different movies, but obviously they're both from space, they're both coming down to kill people, they're both coming to take over. Um, but completely different ways, and the films are actually in two different, decades. Killer Clowns came out in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, and Mars Attacks came out in the mid to late 90s. So, they're about a decade apart, but I think they're both are in their own way, they're both pretty comical, over the top, basically. Um, but I'm not going to say too much about that because we'll talk about next week's episode next week. But so yeah, like I said, this is my first time going live. I can't lie, a little nervous just because I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do it, but I figured I should do something, where I just kind of speak a little more about why I matched the movies that I matched for the episode, and then kind of just a little more info on why I might have picked certain scenes or certain kills. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I definitely enjoyed myself, minus the nerves. But I will see you guys next time. And thank you for joining me. And don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what was your favorite kill, what film you like best out of the stuff in the Blob, and then always and of course, like, subscribe, so blah 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 blah, that stuff. But more importantly, if you guys have any movies that you would like to see me match up, or movies that you think have really good kills, and I can find a movie to match up, just give me your suggestions, whatever movie you like to see me talk about and kind of do my reaction to. So until next time. Peace.